Hey everybody, my name is Eddie Rude and I'm going to teach you how to make chicken tortilla soup tonight. Here is the things that you will need. 1 pound of chicken breasts, a half of a red onion, 1 tablespoon of minced garlic, 9 cups of chicken broth, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, 1 can of diced green chilies, 1 tablespoon of chili powder, 1 tablespoon of oregano, a half a cup of cornstarch, a half a cup of cilantro, 1 cup of shredded cheese, some green onions, and a bag of tortilla chips and 2 cups of water. Okay, so here are the pots that you will need. I got a smaller pot here with boiling water in it. Doesn't really matter how much water you have in it, just enough to cook the chicken that you're going to put into it. And I have a bigger pot here that's going to hold the actual soup. And I've already oiled it at the bottom, just enough to cover the bottom. You don't want too much oil because that's nasty. I use olive oil because it's better for you, but you can use whatever type of oil you want. So first thing I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take these chicken breast tenderloins that I have. My instructions say for chicken breast, but you know, surprise, surprise, my local grocery store didn't have chicken breast for me to buy, but chicken tenderloins works fine too. Chicken breast is just easier to cut, so I'm just gonna put them in this boiling water here and let them boil. We don't need them for a while, so it's just there to boil. So we got our chicken boiling. So we're gonna start cooking this soup in earnest. So I've got some chopped garlic here, pre-chopped, sold in this little bottle here, or can, whatever you call it. If you're good at chopping your own garlic, then God bless you, because I'm not. So I get the pre-chopped kind. What I want is, I want 1 tablespoon of garlic. I'm gonna take that out there. That's about good enough. Throw it in that pot. Get all that stuff out. Okay. Next up is we got our onion. Some red onion. Red onion equals delicious. So I'm gonna chop it in half. I'm not good at chopping onions, so I'm gonna set this other half to the side. So what we don't want is that stem at the back there, because that's full of the thick parts of the onion. You know what? I really don't want this. I don't want this ring either, because it's all flimsy and nasty. Toss that in the trash. So it looks like we got a pretty good onion here. A lot of times I like to take it and just go ahead and cut it down the middle there one more time to give me a nice little ring there. So then you got 2 kind of little wheelies here of onion, and then put them back together and start chopping. And just pray that you don't chop your finger off. So we go down one way, and we take it, and we turn it, and we go down the other way. And it's going to start to explode a little bit. That's fine. It's going to produce a lot of onion, so stuff starts flying to the floor, places you don't want it at. That's fine. You just throw it away, because you're going to have a lot of onion before this is said and done, but that's what you want. You want a lot of onion, because onion makes things delicious. And I just tend to look around, find any big pieces that I don't particularly want. I want to cut them in half. That one's fine. Looks good. Then we take what we got here. I'm going to take it and put it in the pot. And I'm going to grab a spoon. Should have done earlier. This one works. Give it a good stir. And I'm gonna turn this on medium heat. all stoves are not created equally, so you're gonna have to find out what works for you as far as the heat goes. But medium heat for a little while, just to make sure the onions are done. I don't have a clear way of saying how they're gonna look done. It's a smell. They'll start to smell more fragrant, and they'll start to look a little bit more loose, a little bit more, almost like if you could pick them up and they weren't really hot, you could probably see through them almost. But if you don't think your onions are done, don't fret, because you're gonna be cooking a whole lot more in that pot before you're done. So we got our chicken boiling. We got our onions just about cooked. They're pretty much done. Before I get started with anything else, I'm gonna start getting our greens ready. Green onions. This might look bad, but this all kind of looks bad to me, so I'm just gonna cut it and throw it because I don't need a lot of it. This is just for a garnish on top of the soup at the end. But I'm gonna go ahead and cut them now while I'm cutting my greens here. So I just try to keep them together as much as I can. Good little chop. The amount that you want to cut up is entirely up to you. That's probably about good for me. And I'm gonna put it back in the bag, set it to the side. And I got a nice little bowl here to put it in. Okay, we got some green onions to put on top of our soup and we're done. Next up, we got cilantro. Cilantro, we want a certain amount, if you can believe it or not. We want half a cup. Not pressed, just if you can get enough cilantro in a half a cup. So I'm just gonna cut about that much and see if it's enough to fill up half a cup. I'm gonna give it a few more slices there. If you're one of those people who do not like cilantro and it tastes like soap to you, don't put cilantro in the soup. I would wager the guess. I think there's a couple times that I have made chicken tortilla soup and forgot the cilantro, and it's been fine. That's about half a cup. That's good. That's good. So, okay, so we're at the point where we're gonna just go ahead and add our tomatoes to our cooked onions and garlic here. Just go ahead and pour the whole can in, juice and all. Kind of overdid it on my onions and garlic here. I turned it down, but like I said, my stove down, but like I said, all stoves are not created equal. Sometimes you put something on there and it's still gonna burn no matter if it's off or not. So I'm gonna put in my chicken broth now as well. Just the whole thing, about 9 cups worth, 72 ounces, I believe is what that works out to be. Put that in there. Okay, so our chicken's boiled. It's done, it's over here. Like I said, it's usually preferable to have chicken breast, but I'm gonna sit here and let it cool off because we're gonna chop it up later. Right now, this is a step that I forgot earlier, but we got some chilies, chopped up chilies, green chilies. I'm just gonna throw that in there. It doesn't matter if you have to do it now or later, but you know, you have to do it sometime. So I got my boiled chicken water here. This is the water that the chicken boiled in. I'm gonna want to get at least 2 cups out of it. So that's one. I'm just gonna go ahead and throw it in there. If you don't want to be so precise as, you know, using the measuring cup, just throw a little bit of boiled chicken water in there and you will be A-okay. Okay, so with all that in the pot, the water, the chicken stock, the tomatoes, chilies, garlic, onion, I'm gonna go ahead and turn it up on boil. And then I'm gonna I got my chili powder here, and I want a tablespoon of chili powder. So So I got my chili powder here, my 1 tablespoon. Just gonna dump that in there, give it a good little stir so it doesn't clump up. It's gonna turn that soup into a good dark red. So like I said, we turned it up on boil. As soon as it starts to boil a little bit, you wanna let it boil for about 10 minutes. Get that? 10, like Ty Dillinger, the perfect 10. Just go ahead and let it boil. Okay, so we've been boiled for 10 minutes on our soup here. We've taken out the chicken, chopped it up. So our next step is we've got a half a cup of cornstarch here. Cornstarch is important for thickening the soup up. I had a lot of problems with cornstarch. Earlier on, I'm gonna teach you a trick here that I've used to make it so the cornstarch doesn't clump up in your soup and someone doesn't take a big bite out of just a pure pebble of cornstarch and it's nasty. So we're gonna come over here to the sink. I'm gonna put some water in, like I got my half a cup of cornstarch, I'm gonna put some water in it. Just go ahead and put it in there and you just stir it up in the measuring bowl. It doesn't really matter how much water you put into it, as long as the cornstarch and the water gets mixed together. I mix it up with a fork just to, you know, not get the cornstarch all stuck to the spoon or whatever. So you have a nice little thick mixture there. It's better than trying to hunt down the clumps of cornstarch that would be in your soup later on. So that's what I've been doing. You know, you got some nice cornstarch there. So then I come back to the soup. Again, I'm gonna throw that in there. Then I'm gonna throw in the cooked chicken here. If it doesn't fall everywhere. And next up is the cheese. So our next step is to get about a cup full of cheese. You know, whatever type of cheese you want in here. People like different types of cheeses. I tend to buy a little Mexican blend here. And you about want a cup full of cheese. If you want more cheese or less cheese, that's entirely up to you. We're going to go ahead and throw that in there, and then we're going to set it to boil again. I'm going to set it to boil for another 5 minutes. Okay, we got one of our last steps here. I'm gonna take a tablespoon of oregano and throw that in. Stir it up and get the excess oregano off. Then we got the cilantro that we cut earlier at the very beginning. I'm gonna go ahead and throw that in too. I'm gonna give it a good stir. As the last of the boil happens. And then I would let it stand for about 5 more minutes. So the soup is done. Here's our finished product. We're gonna garnish it with some green onions here. You know, whatever you feel like putting on it. A little bit of green onion there. Then we got some chips. Put some chips in there. And there's your chicken tortilla soup. So that's it. From Cooking with Eddie Rude, episode 1, we got the chicken tortilla soup done and ready to eat. I hope y'all, you know, test it out, try it out, eat it. Let me know how you feel, because I think it's pretty good. I've been cooking it for a lot of years. Hopefully we'll do another one here soon. So catch y'all later.